So whether you're just getting started in video production or you've been doing it for a while, you know that one of the processes you have to go through when you're working with commercial clients or any sort of clients that have to approve video projects, if they have options for revisions and things, is you have to send it to them and then they have to take a look at it and they have to get back to you with things that they want changed. And it can be a really annoying process because all the traditional ways of text and emails and trying to keep track of exact time codes can be really frustrating, and it can be such a hassle that it makes you really not sometimes even want to allow revisions at all. But if you make it easier on yourself and easier on the client, it makes the whole process more seamless, more professional, and it will give you a result that they're happier with and you're happier with. I want to start off right away and say that this video is not sponsored in any way from Frame.io, but when I come across applications that really change everything for me, I like to bring them to you because this channel is all about providing value for you. And something like Frame.io is something that I cannot believe I didn't use sooner, and I actually can't believe how little people actually know about the program. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about how we use it and why I think it's so beneficial as any filmmaker. So the first way that I use Frame.io is being able to collaborate with my actual employees and people that are editing for me. When I give them a project to edit and they are done with an edit, instead of me going over to their desk or me plugging in hard drives or me having to get together with them to check on an edit, they upload it directly to Frame.io, they send me a link, I look at it, I can make my revisions and my comments right in the video, they can import those things, work on the revisions, and get things done, and we can move projects along very fast. So that's part one, and then the second part is when I actually send videos to clients for them to see. So this is the part that is most useful to me because back in the day I used to have to send things with Google Drive or Dropbox or YouTube or Vimeo links, whatever it is, private channels, and then they'd have to just send me emails back and forth, and I hate email and trying to keep track of things and revisions and where was that last email they sent me that had what they wanted. What I love about Frame.io is when I send the client something to review, it just works right on their browser. It works whether they're using a smartphone, an iPad, a computer, whatever it is. They can just watch the video, and as soon as they're watching the video, they tap comment and they can start commenting on what they want changed or what they want to give feedback on directly where they're at without having to have any sort of tech savviness to go along with it. I work with a lot of owners of businesses and some that run bigger businesses that are never by a computer, they're always by their phone. So being able to send them a link, they instantly look at it, comment back, it makes it easy for them because they don't have to compose emails and try to look at when time codes are. They just watch and in real time, they see something they don't like, boom, you hit comment, it pauses, it makes the time code stamp, and they comment and they move on and they keep editing. I want to be a company that's easy to work with, not just when I'm filming or in pre-production, but in post-production as well. I want to make the process simple that when I send them a link, they can edit things, they can comment, they know I'm going to see them, I'm going to make changes and be able to do it quickly and seamlessly back and forth. That's a huge part of the professionalism that we keep by showing that we do things consistently so they always know whenever a revision comes their way, it's going to be inside Frame.io, really easy for them to see and approve, and then just move on from that project. You can upload everything in full quality onto Frame.io, so 4K or whatever you're actually shooting in, and it's great because if they approve the edit and everything's good to go, they can literally just download it right there and instantly it's available for them to use. And it just makes it easy. Rather than saying, okay, that sounds great, let me send you a link to the final video. If it's all in there, they can download it and just move on from that project and get on to the next one. And as if Frame.io wasn't already easy enough to share files with, it got even better recently when they added incredible integration directly into Final Cut Pro 10. I'm not going to dive into all the integration side of things for Final Cut because what I really want to talk about is that Frame.io is great whether you use Premiere, Final Cut, DaVinci, it doesn't matter. The whole point of the collaboration with Frame.io is universal regardless what program you're using. It is just a great way to collaborate. And yes, to answer your next question, Christmas tree is already up because I love Christmas. I could have it up year round. And realistically, when you're watching this video, it may be Christmas. So this right here is the main hub of what Frame.io looks like in the back end, and this is where you can share things, where you can look at comments, where you can review things, where you can upload things, all of that. You can do a lot of what I'm about to show you directly into Final Cut, but for the sake of this video, it's all about kind of just what Frame.io does in general, so we won't dive right into Final Cut. So let's jump right into it. This is for a company that I'm doing some work for, some aerial work, and we're doing some flyover stuff for some of their properties that they're leasing. And this gives you an idea in terms of what it looks like when I basically send them something. When I send them a file, they can watch it just like in any other player, YouTube, Vimeo, whatever it is. They can watch it just like they normally would, but it allows them to comment on things. And then what I can do is I can see all their comments here of what they've said about any specific part. Now, the great thing about it is, unlike an email where they might have to write the time code and then I have to go find it, in Frame.io, I simply click that exact part that they commented on. It takes me right to that exact same time code and allows me to see exactly what they're talking about directly in the video. This is really convenient because obviously sometimes people don't necessarily timestamp things correctly, so being able to actually see what they're talking about is really, really helpful. What's great about this as well is that it adds all these marks as completed next to it, so you can kind of have a checklist in front of you to be able to adjust the things accordingly as you're actually doing the edits. You can like comments, you can reply to comments, and they'll see the replies back to it. So if you have a question about one of their edits, you can say, are you sure you want to do this? I think this looks better with this. And they can respond back and forth really, really nicely. I love the to-do list checking though, because it's nice to be able to go through and know that you are making all your checks. But the even better part about that is that if someone sends all these revisions like they normally would, you can just hit this little button right here and download the actual file for all the actual changes. You can download it as just like a CSV file, an XML file, just a plain text file, or you can download directly to Final Cut, which you also can integrate unbelievably directly in Final Cut now. But you can just download the file and have it all saved separate. You can print it if you wanted to, for some reason, show someone the edits. I don't really know exactly why you'd print it, but you can see how nicely it lays it out, just really, really clean. So I can go through all these edits, I can do all my changes or whatever, and then I can just send them new files really, really simply. And the first time I go into a file, if all these were empty, to share it is as simple as going share, and you can just share as a review link, and it just asks for some just different approvals. Do you want them to be able to download it, require a passphrase? Do you want the link to expire, allow approval, show revisions, whatever it is? You literally can just copy this URL directly to a browser, paste it, and it's done. Or you can just email it directly in there as well. If you'd rather just email it and enter the person's email, it'll send it that way. So it's really simple regardless which way you actually want to do it. Really convenient and easy to use. Then they make all their changes, they send them your way, you instantly see them in real time. So if they were actually editing things simultaneously right now, you'd be seeing them showing up simultaneously. And it works really well because you don't have to hope that you're seeing the most recent, because if they add it, even if they add it from a different device, a different computer, a different username, multiple users at the same time, you see them instantly. So it's great. Then right up here, they can set a status, needs review, in progress, approved, remove label, whatever you want. You can do all that kind of stuff. They can also just download right here the full files, which is great. So if this was in 4K, you'd see 4K as the original option. And then there's proxies, 1080, 720, 540, 360. That's really, really used more for collaboration between other editors, which I'll talk about a little bit. But they can download the file directly from there, and it makes it convenient because you don't have to worry about sending them the final link somewhere else. If they approve it and they love it, they can download it right there, and it's easy to use. Bam, done. For them to actually make changes as I'm watching this in real time, all I have to do is literally just click in the comment bar and start to type, and it pauses the video and immediately makes this time code what I pause the video at, and I can type whatever I want and hit send. I can change the font color, I can do different things, whatever. I can put emojis with it. And I do the exact same process with my editor for wedding films. He uploads a wedding video for me to look at. I make any changes that I want in it. He fixes all the different changes, and then once I approve it, it's ready to go. Or I just download the XML and I can just bring it into Final Cut and do some final color, audio, whatever it is. But it's all done in Frame.io really conveniently. Now, where it really gets amazing is the actual Final Cut Pro integration, because all those things that I just mentioned to you can be done directly in Final Cut in the brand new 10.4.4 update, I believe it was. But this is just amazing. I just want to really quickly touch on this. For those that are Final Cut Pro users, you'll understand exactly why this is so awesome. One of the brand new features in Final Cut, right at the very top, you have this little tiny thing now called Open the Extension. This is a Frame.io extension. Final Cut is now allowing people to have third-party extensions in Final Cut directly, which is great. But when I click Open the Extension, you can see that it takes me right into a window built into Final Cut for Frame.io. And you can see all the exact same things I was just seeing in the other place. I can see all those same buildings. I can see all the comments. I can see everything just like I normally would which is amazing. But here's the best part. If I go to an edit, for example, that I'm working on, let's say, for example, this edit 2, which is something that I just sent over to the church I'm working on a project for. If I were to go to that edit and I go to this right here, and I can see that here's all the different revisions or different things that he wanted to have included in there, and some of them was just timestamping things, certain things we were talking about moving this from one place to the next. I can literally just hit this button right here that says import, and I can drag this right over top of my timeline and drop it. And now directly in Final Cut, I can see overlays in real time based on what they said about the video that needs changes for it, and you can see it directly in it. So instead of even having to go back and forth and try to look at what needs to be adjusted where, all these markers now that are created are based on what they sent me. So when I hover over a marker, you can see right there it says exactly what it is, the timestamp, when they actually made that timestamp, who made the timestamp, and the edit revisions. And then you can double click on these. They're now markers directly in Final Cut. You can make it completed or not completed. So all the non-completed ones in Final Cut would show up green. They'd be green for completed and red for not completed, all right in Final Cut. Seriously, how amazing is that? And then it's great because I can just literally make an edit, and as soon as I'm done making an edit, I can hit File, Share, Frame.io H.264, and it will instantly ask me to title it like I normally would. When you hit Next, it'll go right into this, and it will ask you all those same things. Do you want to auto version the timeline? Where do you want to put it? What project? You hit Upload, and it's done, and it's on there. You don't even have to export it and then upload it in Frame.io. It's just amazing. What I really love that Frame did is that they made the integration with whether you're using an iPad, an iPhone, a computer. They made them all really smooth, super clean. They won an award from Apple for the actual design of the app. It's just amazingly easy to use and clean, and that's super big for me because a lot of people don't use computers anymore, and I personally, when I'm reviewing a film that my editor sends me, I like it to be easy to access directly in the actual program. So I love the fact that I can open up that same project just like I did on the computer. I can open up the exact same one I just had opened. You can see the video plays without a problem right in the actual browser. I can pause things the same way. I can look at all my comments and tap on them, and they take me right to that specific part to watch. I can instantly, while a video is playing, I can just hit that comment button below. It'll timestamp it. I can type in stuff. This is a comment, just exactly like you'd expect and hope that it works directly in there. And I can still send review links, everything. It's just right in there, and it's just, it's just so good. I don't know why more people aren't using this, but then again, I didn't know about it either, so it's just, man. So like I said, this is not a sponsored video because it doesn't need to be, but I just think that Frame.io is such an incredible platform for people to use if you are someone that shares files with editors or clients, which we all do. Chances are if you have a video production company and you're getting paid to do work, you go through the process of sending them something to look at, and this is by far the best way to do it. It is super affordable, and you pay based on how many users you want or how many gigs in size, but it's just incredibly easy to use, super professional, super clean. Anyone can figure it out, and it just really makes another kind of advantage that you can have in your company, being able to share things efficiently with people, and I just absolutely love it. It has changed the way we edit entirely, and I just can't say enough good things about it. Another thing Frame.io does really well, and it's not something we do that often because a lot of our transferring of files back and forth are local with actual hard drives, because a lot of my editors work kind of from my office or nearby, so it's not something we use a ton. But if you are working remotely with multiple editors that do stuff for you, the great part about this is that you can upload full projects into Frame.io and have all the clip assets. But what's great is you can just import the native files into there and let an editor download all the proxies, which are automatically created in Frame.io. So instead of you having to create the proxies and upload them to something like Google Drive and download them, you can import everything directly into native form right into Frame.io, and then it creates the proxies for you, or it creates the natives, the full size. It just makes it really convenient to share things back and forth. So if that's something that you also do, where you actually share project assets, something to keep in mind, because that is also extremely easy to use. At the end of the day, to me, it's all about just a efficiency? How can I make the process between myself and clients easier? How can I make it easier for them to look at videos that they need things approved for, that they want to send me revisions for? I just want to make it simple for them. I also want to make it simple for my editors, and I want to make it the same process over and over. We have loved using it. It's extremely beneficial, and I cannot recommend it enough that you should definitely try it out.